Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Remnant TV. I am Jaden, one of your youth leaders here at Remnant Fort Washington. And thank you so much for joining us today. If you are a first time guest, go ahead and drop first time down in the chat below so our other leaders will be able to recognize and welcome you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thank you for joining us. And let's get into these announcements. All right, so the first announcement that I have for you all is the DM, which is every Thursday on our Instagram page at 3 p.m., which you can find at remnant.fw. That is remnant.fw. Be sure to share the DM with your friends and family. Secondly, we have the bridge. Now, this is a big time because we are welcoming new students, fifth graders who are transitioning into sixth grade, which means they are eligible to join our Remnant family. So we want to celebrate those students. Great job and welcome to Remnant. And lastly, the big news that everybody has been waiting for, which is Remnant is turning 4. Yes, we have been a Remnant family for almost 4 years, and we just want to say happy anniversary to Remnant. I would just like to say how grateful I am for Remnant being such an impact in my spiritual journey. And let's check out this special video to celebrate our anniversary, and I'll be right back.
Do you know what today is? Happy anniversary to my Remnant family. Happy anniversary, Remnant. I can't believe it's been 4 years already. Time has really flown by. From being a part of the team from the planning stages and then having our launch service. It's been such an amazing experience. I'm getting to see all the kids come through our doors and really seeing all you students grow up from middle school to high school and now transitioning on into college. I've loved having the chance to develop relationships with you guys, and definitely looking forward to see what else God has in store for you guys as you grow older, as well as Remnant Ministry itself as we continue to bring in more students and help walk them through their journey of life. So once again, happy anniversary, Remnant, and I look forward to many, many more.
Happy anniversary, Remnant. We are 4 years old. These past 4 years have been nothing short of amazing. Watching the different things that we've come together to put on for our students, middle school and high school, the celebrations that we've taken part of, how we just, admire and celebrate our youth. It is extremely wonderful to be able to say that I helped take part of this. These past 4 years, I promise you, have been amazing to not only my life, and I'm hoping they've been amazing to your life as well. Happy anniversary! Woo!
Now, let's get into it with special guests, Mr. Corey Jones and Minister Dre.
Awesome. Thank you, Jaden, for that. I appreciate you. Hey, listen, what's going on, Remnant family? It's Minister Dre. And look, I'm here with a special guest, y'all. Y'all know this is part 3 of #relationship goals. And part 1, we talked about accountability partners. Part 2, we talked about building and cultivating healthy relationships. And now we're here with part 3, which is relationships that'll take you far. So we're focusing on mentors, we're focusing on coaches, we can toss in there youth leaders, pastors. I mean, we can throw in so many different relationships that'll help take you far. And I'm on here with, again, like I said, a special guest, my mentor, my big brother, Corey Jones. Corey Jones, man, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you taking the time out to just chat with me about this whole mentor relationship thing. And so I just want to give you an opportunity to greet the people and then tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right. How is everybody? All right. My name's Corey Jones. I guess telling you all about myself. I'm married, 20 years, married to Chanel Jones. I have 3 children, Corey Jr., we call him JR, Taylor, Judith Elaine, and Peyton Olivia. I'm a member of Woods Dream Church. Our senior pastor is Robert Wingfield. I'm a deacon at the church, involved in multiple ministries and so forth. And baseball, historically had been a baseball coach. And then I'm a real estate developer by trade, or actually I was a teacher, but now I'm a real estate developer. I started out in construction and I moved to residential and commercial development. So really excited to be here. You know, from family man and spiritual man and businessman, and athletic man, that would be me. And so, Dondre, thank you, or Minister Dre, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to kind of just talk with you today. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. That's what's up, man. Like, it's funny that you said teacher. You went back to teacher,
Yeah.
because I remember something very specific. I remember when I first graduated from college. This was in 06. I don't know if you're gonna remember this, but I graduated from college in 06. And it was that summer between graduation and like going into the classroom.
Yeah.
And man, you was like, so what you doing this summer? And I was like, well, nothing, just waiting for the school year to start. And he was like, look, man, you trying to make some money? And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to make some money. He was like, all right, bet. Well, I think I got to pay my house. I got to do stuff around the house. Come through, and I'm going to match you off this amount of dollars like every week or every day, and then we good. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I actually do. I didn't remember that until you just said it, man. My memory is bad. I got a selective memory, but my father always taught me to have an income project. He was a great man. He passed in 2014, 3 days after my birthday.
Yeah.
4 days, July 14th. My 45th birthday is actually the 10th, which is this Friday. I'm real excited about that. But he always said have an income project. So I was trying to pass that on to you.
That's shout out to Mr. Jones, man. Definitely a legend in his own right, man. Miss that guy. So listen, man, we're gonna get to it, man, because I got some questions that I want to toss your way,
Sure.
and really have this conversation about mentors and mentees, because I really believe that this is a relationship that is it's almost like you hear a lot about it, but you don't really hear kind of like the science about how to go in creating the relationship between the mentor, between the mentor and the mentee.
Right.
Or like people really don't understand the value of the mentor-mentee relationship. And so I just want to just get into it by just jumping out here and asking you first, how do you feel about the term mentor? Because some people don't really like that. Like, nah, don't call me your mentor. Like, we could be cool, but don't call me your mentor. Like, how do you feel about the term mentor, and what makes you feel that way about it?
Well, you got to look at the definition of mentor, right? Somebody that you trust, somebody that's experienced, and somebody that advises you. And so even if you don't like the name, you are what you're doing. And so if somebody trusts you, and if you have experience in your life, and if you are actively advising someone, that would mean you're their mentor if they trust you. And so, I mean, mentorship is huge. I've had some situations where I've seen some young people and even older people that don't want any help. That's foreign to me. Jesus had 12. Iron sharpens iron, when you're cold, a second person help you out, warm you up. And so mentorship for me has always been something where I've always had a mentor, number one. I'm always trying to mentor when the opportunity exists, because, why are we here? Love God and then love others like you love yourself. And so a part of loving others is really giving all you can. And so that's something that just has historically for me come natural, because I have a very giving heart. And I just feel like, when I die, when we all die, we're all going to say we wish we did more. So the best way to do as much as possible is to sow into the lives of other people.
That's good. Good. So something that I want people to understand is, especially our folks watching. So, we got middle schoolers and we got high schoolers on here. Like, some people think, you got to be old to be a mentor. You know what I'm saying? You got to be old to be a mentor. But I don't think that's true.
Well, that's not the definition.
Go ahead.
That's not the definition. So we all can add value to our neighbor. And when I say our neighbor, you can mentor somewhat from afar as you exemplify the right character. And then because people are watching us. And so as people are watching you, whether it's doing whatever you do in your daily life, people are watching you. And when God opens up when he presents an opportunity for that person to ask you a question, that's when you might say this or that. And that is mentorship, because you are exemplifying that you are doing something that they're like, And then when they ask you a question, you're advising. And so that's really what mentorship is. And I mean, I guess one of the things I wanted to say is a lot of times it's not about giving somebody the answer. It's about just talking to them based on your experience. Wow. And then they can glean from what you say for how they should maybe have an outlook on what they're going through. Mentors don't always have the right answer for you, but they advise. And so mentors, because they've been through certain things and they have some experiences, they can help conceptually. So they don't necessarily give you what to do, but they a lot of times advise you on how to change your thinking. And then you can make some decisions taking into account their thematical and conceptual change of how to think about a situation, if that makes any sense.
That makes a lot of sense, bro. One thing that you said that was so key is you said something along the lines of distant.
Oh yeah.
So like mentors don't always have to be in close quarters.
Right.
Especially today where, we're so internet and technology heavy. Like you can literally follow somebody on Instagram or Twitter and just literally follow them, because the amount of content that we're putting on either of those platforms or a website or whatever, the amount of content that we're putting on those platforms, you can easily mentor somebody from hundreds upon hundreds of miles away.
Well, two of my mentors don't even know me.
Wow. So hold on. Because I really believe that point right there is going to free somebody up. And it's going to free somebody up from two things. One, I have to find a mentor who is in extremely close quarters to me, and I have to have a conversation with them. Because a lot of people here be like, well, I want them to be my mentor, but I don't know what to say. And I don't want to get shut down, and I don't even know how to ask that. So talk a bit about how two of your mentors, you said, don't even know you.
Well, okay, so one of my mentors is Ravi Zacharias, the late Ravi Zacharias, and another one is the late Nabil Qureshi. Those are two of the most renowned apologists for some time now. Both of them were of a different faith before Christianity. Nabil Qureshi was a Muslim. He wrote a book, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. And Ravi Zacharias came out of India. He was Hindu, and he tried to commit suicide when he was 17, and someone gave him a Bible. He started reading, and he has really tested all the faiths of the world, and was a Christian till he died. And he would go around the world defending the faith to like the Mormons, to the Senate, to secular universities like Harvard, even in Iran when they let him, and talk to the leading sheikh. And so those are people that I trust. Those are people that are experienced, and those are people that advise me. Not only can you find, people that you may not know that can be your mentor because they're experienced, because you trust them, and they can give you wisdom through advising, but people that you look at and you're like, wow, man, I'd like that to be my mentor. I'm going to tell you, and this is going to sound really cliche, but you got to knock. Hebrews says, the Lord blesses hands that diligently seek him. And the word says, knock and the door will be open. Now it doesn't say when the door is open, walk through, but it does say the door's going to be open. And one of the things that's so easy but so difficult is getting started. And so you really want to, if the Lord is leading you to speak to somebody, it's just like when you talk to your wife, Dondre, hey, would you like to go out? If you don't ask that question, you're not going to find out. I mean, you sometimes in life, you have to humble yourself and say, hello, this is my name. And you don't have to mention the word mentor. I actually think that's too formal. You say, hey, I see that you you own a coffee shop, and I've been always thinking about owning a coffee shop. Do you mind if I can, get you some, well, I wouldn't say Starbucks because you own a coffee shop, but can we go to Borders and I ask you a couple questions? That's a good lead in. You don't need to make it so, mentor, because the reality is a mentorship is nothing more than a relationship. And I'll tell you, if that person doesn't want to sow into you, they don't need to be your mentor, because you want the person that God has for you. And by the way, there can be many of them. There's nothing wrong. I have about 5 mentors. I got 1 spiritual, I got about 2 for marriage, and I got a couple for business. And so, because you can't fit your mentor specifically in one box, because you have different aspects of your life that you need advisement on. And you might want one just for general. But in any event, I would say take initiative and, ask them and say, hey, can we, and I'm going to say this, I have done that as recently as this year, because I still need advisement in multiple areas. So I just challenge anybody listening that they would take initiative.
So you mentioned you have a few mentors. You say you got a mentor in spiritual, you got a mentor in marriage, a few mentors in marriage, and you got mentors in business.
Yes.
What made you say that's the person?
Sometimes mentoring makes a person feel uncomfortable because they're challenging us, but that's one of their jobs. So that was him. That grew over time. Minister Cedric Brown, him and his wife, Alicia Brown, they're just outstanding. They're involved in the Navigators missions field. He and his wife have just ministered to my wife and I over the 20 years we've been married. And that came because when I was not, I was going to church, but I was not sold out for Christ for sure. And he would always call me, hey, how you doing? I was like, why is this old dude calling me? And he's not old, but he's like, I'm 45, he's probably 60 something. I'm like, why is he calling me? And he was checking on me. And eventually when I got my act together, his relationship with his wife actually definitely ministered to me and my wife. And so that one was because he sought me out. Good. And so the last one I'll mention is business. That's kind of the one I was talking about with the coffee shop. In terms of business, sometimes you have to find people that are successful that look to have the character that you believe is godly character. And then you need to say, hey, can we get a cup of coffee? And so that's, because that's just how that worked for me. And it still happens. And I'll say this, a mentor doesn't always have to be your mentor consistently. They can be a person that you talk to once a year. There's different types of mentors, but the fact is you have to trust them. They got to have that experience, and they have to advise. And that trust, remember, that trust is rooted in Christ and His character.
Solid. That's good to know, man, because you have mentors in different areas.
Oh yeah.
So the folks, the fam watching now, we got a lot of them who, some are extremely studious, like they go hard in their academics. Some of them go hard in their sports, in their respective sports. So we got, basketball folks watching, football folks watching, track, swimming. Like we got a lot of people watching. Let's kind of curve the conversation to that the coaching aspect of your life. Right. You said you love baseball, so kind of talk about, and you were a coach in baseball for quite some time. Kind of talk about that relationship and some of the similarities that you saw with a mentoring relationship and even a coaching relationship.
Okay, well, so I went to Bowie State, played baseball there, had a great time. BSU.
Shout out BSU. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And so after I graduated from Bowie State and I taught for 10 years, I was a varsity coach at Potomac High School. And so I coached there, and then my wife got pregnant and had kids, and that aftercare was rough. So I stopped coaching. But when my son turned 8, I started coaching him again. And what I did was I took a team of young men from 8 to 14. And I actually ended up starting my organization, similar to like Kevin Durant has an organization. A lot of NBA players have organizations in baseball typically you play for Upper Marlboro, or Clinton, or Hyattsville, but there's not a lot of, well, the reason why I created my own organization was because I was taking my son and these boys that were from all over the region, and we really couldn't fit into a box. I didn't want to cut some of them. And if I moved to API or Gambles, I would have had to cut some of them, and I was in love with my boys. So I said, forget it. We're going to get insurance in a field, and we're going to have our own team. And so that was cool. And so specifically as it relates to mentorship and that I would call it an outreach initiative. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing better than spending time with people, because people have a thought about how you are based on what you look like, based on your initial, the way you come off, whether it is, you know, anything. You know, everybody has a way they come off, but nothing can replace the time you spend with people. And that's how you win people for Christ in many instances, because you're consistent, Christ-like behavior. And even when you fall short, apologizing and so forth. And so with that baseball team, we had a lot of character development. Nice. We had a lot of, one thing I did was we would go in the wintertime, because we played fall and spring. In the wintertime, we would go feed the homeless in 1 month.
Nice.
We went to Baltimore every year, feed the homeless. Boom, Thanksgiving. Christmas time, we would stuff stockings for the homeless. And then one other month, I think it was November, December, January, we would do a basketball joint, and we would collect all these coats and give those to the homeless. So the team was, and our logo was the cross of Jesus Christ. It was the same logo as Riverdale Baptist, but it was Brokaw. But we stole, because we used to play on Riverdale's field, so we stole their logo. It was a cross. They're the Crusaders. And so, so that was an emphasis of the team. So I guess what I'll say to that is, whenever you're doing anything with a group or organization, it's not just about basketball. It's not just about baseball. You know, that's one thing. But when they get to know you at your core, what are they going to remember about you? Is it, you know, that you taught them how to hit? Or is it the good times we spent serving and winning with class and not cussing? You know what I'm saying? And the things that really are going to help you when you're in that job interview, the things that are going to help you when you have issues with a teacher in school, how to handle yourself. Because there's just so many situations and opportunities to that you encounter in sports because it's so passionate, from other teams calling you. You know, we've had other teams say some very interesting words to our players. A predominantly Black team travel all around the country, and you got to go through that. Wow. And so you have to address that, but you address it in a Christ-like manner with class, and then we get on one knee and talk about it. And so, and you know, and we don't give up. You know, we down 9-1, we still rocking and rolling, and we might come back. So, you know, baseball was tremendous. And I'm proud to say that it didn't start out as a mentorship thing. It started out as, I don't want to lose these boys, let me start my own team. And then God used it. And so, and that's the thing. So there, and I want to point this out. There's two aspects of mentorship, right? There's the person that's the mentor, and then there's you seeking a mentor. And so both are necessary, because we're supposed to be trying to pull somebody up, having an accountability partner, and trying to learn from somebody else. It's a 3-tier system. So for people that are listening, it's important that you understand that you're not just supposed to be seeking for a mentor, you're supposed to be a mentor too. Good. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're 15, the 8-year-olds are looking. If you're 20, the 15-year-olds are looking. In fact, if you're 20, the 20-year-olds are looking. But you can mentor somebody your own age. You can mentor somebody older than you.
Wow.
Because it's, yeah. So anyway, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that's solid. I wanted to, so when you started that, JR was how old?
He started playing baseball at 8, because I wasn't going to start at 7. I didn't want to drive him around. So 8 to 14.
So 8 to 14, that's 6 years that you had the same group of boys?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, you would have the occasional kid that leaves because he wants to play on a different team.
Yeah.
But we had a core, you know, baseball, you play 9 in the field. So we had about 13, and we had about the same 8, 9 for all that time.
No, that's good, man. It's awesome to see how so much more. You know, you hear about how sports aren't just sports.
Yeah.
You know, the whole LeBron thing, you know, it's bigger than basketball, or, you know, it's, you know, now the whole shut up and dribble thing, like it's much bigger than sports. It's about like life on life.
Oh yeah.
And so the platform of sports, you know, I just love to hear how things start out one way, but they morph into something a lot bigger. So I appreciate that, man, just how you invested in the lives of those young boys, and then 6, 8, you know, whatever years later, you see what's going on.
They're all juniors and seniors now.
Nice.
And it's tremendous. They're going to a lot of them is going to college, and it's just a blessing, man. And they're all bigger than me. I remember when they was that high. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we're having another reunion, not this year because of COVID, but I intend on having reunions indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't plan on stopping reunions with these young men. And I told them, I said, I want to be at your wedding. Okay.
Nice.
Because, you know, this is the only life we get.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, if you go left, you're not going right. And so decisions matter.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't know can hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to be involved as much as possible in their lives. And so that's why it's an open door invitation.
That's cool, man. You made me think about something when you said you want to be in their wedding. Man, let me let y'all know something. This dude was in my wedding. Not only was he in my wedding, but he cut my hair for my wedding, right before my wedding. So that is a true word. That's not fluff right there. So I want to shift gears a bit and ask you, you know, this is church, right? So I'm gonna ask you something about the Bible for sure. But is there a mentor-mentee relationship in the Bible that stands out to you? Because they're all throughout the Bible, right? But I wanted to know if there was one particular one that stood out to you and why.
So, you know, a lot of people will think Paul and Timothy, or even Barnabas and Paul. I'm going to tell you that you might not think of him as a mentor, but I do, and his name is Jesus. Let me tell you why I gotta go with Jesus. You see, one of the most important thing as it relates to a mentor is to be able to reach the mentee, to reach them. And what does reach them mean? It means that they're like, huh. And now they have thought about what they were thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Potential. And I mentioned this earlier. What Jesus did was he would talk in parables.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not giving you the answer. He's not saying, take that job. He's not saying, be an FBI agent. He's talking in parables. And I'm going to tell you, the disciples, they learned so much from him. And it wasn't just what he said, but it was also what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly his methodology of speaking to them was not do this, do that. And even oftentimes he wasn't even talking to them. He was talking to the Herodians. He was talking to the Pharisees. He was talking to the Sadducees. And he's modeling the right behavior, talking to other people while mentoring at the same time. Gotcha. And so, you know, Jesus, I got to go with the Lord.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, man. So I got this question that it's kind of like a forethought kind of question. So when you do what you do, is there a part of you that says, I'm not just doing what I'm doing for my family, my marriage, my business, whatever, my ministry, but I'm doing this, I'm getting this knowledge to pass on to somebody else? Is that part of your process, your initial thought process, or it's what clicks to make you think the way that you do as far as transferring information to other people by way of mentor-mentee relationship?
I'm gonna tell you, I read a book. Now, oftentimes when you read a book, you might have already been doing something, but the book kind of put it in words that you can articulate succinctly. I read a book by Bob Berg. B-O-B, and I think it's either B-E-R-G or B-U-R-G. And it's called the 5 Laws of Stratospheric Success.
Mm-hmm.
And the first law is to give more in value than you receive in payment.
Wow.
And Bob Berg says, now one of the other laws is don't block your blessing when it come back, okay? But we're not gonna talk about that law. But that first law, when I read it, and you can check it out on YouTube too, and it's, you know, they got a 20-minute thing, and you can see it, and you're like, wow, I get it. His whole thing is, when you treat people, when you know, some people withhold information. You know, they believe that, you know, like if I'm in real estate and you're in real estate, oh, I can't tell him that because he might copy off me. It's actually completely the opposite. The more you give, see, you can't be God.
Wow.
And so, but see, you know, the secular man, the Romans talks about how he doesn't, it's like foolishness. He don't understand. The more you pour out, first of all, you're going to have joy. Jesus, others, and you. First of all, you have joy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number 2, you're going to get. Because you think these kids I mentor, they're going to come back when I'm old? Oh, yeah, they're going to come back. I'm going to need some help, okay? I'm going to need some help. Trust me on that. But the last thing, and I'm going to go back to the joy, you know, there's nothing better than seeing a young person successful. There's nothing better than seeing you successful. You know, there's nothing better. Nothing better. I mean, what good is it for you to have a big old house and your man's struggling?
Sure.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
That's good, man. So we're gonna wrap this up. What are your like final takeaways, like a final thought, maybe a final idea that you would give to these students so they could leave this conversation or leave this episode of Remnant TV and then be able to go and do something to establish a relationship with somebody that can take them further, that can take them, you know, because this is what I say. A mentor is somebody whose hindsight is your foresight. So what I can look back and say, yeah, if I would have known this, I would have done this.
Yes.
Like I can give that to somebody who's trying to get to where I am or trying to do what I'm doing.
Yes.
So like that's one way to kind of put a mentor in the pocket, like as far as the definition, somebody whose hindsight is your foresight.
Yeah.
So what final thought or what final idea or takeaway would you give to these students as far as the mentor relationship before we wrap up?
So this year at Woodstream Church, there was a young adult conference, and they the leaders asked me to do it was all based on wellness, and leadership asked me to do a cohort on financial wellness. And what God gave me in the financial wellness cohort was mentorship and the importance of it. And I forgot about that until about 5:10. And I was looking for something and that popped up. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, look at God. So I want to give that to you. That is some documentation I have that you could circulate potentially. But let me speak specifically about it. Knock, listen, act, and knock again. I think that, you know, the best way to lose weight is to start working out. Mm-hmm. There's no, and watch what you're eating. There's no like hidden, you know, you have to take initiative. When it comes to mentorship, if you want a mentor, you need to take action. It needs to be a priority. Meaning, what do you do for things that are priorities, right? You really want to get into Villanova. You really want to get into Penn State. You start praying about that thing. You really want a car. You start praying about that thing. When you really want something, you start praying about it. So number one, when something's a priority, pray about it. So if you want a mentor, you need to pray about it. You said, Lord, help me to find a mentor. Help me, reveal. And so God reveals people. He really does. The problem is we don't ask. That's number one. Number two, understand that all you need to do is ask the person, say, hey, can I get you some coffee? Can I, blah, 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 blah. Can I talk to you? That's all it takes. And so what happens is, now that you've prayed about it and you've taken action, God does the rest. Now, you just can't stop with that one time. I think the problem is not young people, but it's really all people. We're in a very microwave society where we want to mentor right now, and we want to be rich right now, and we want to have everything right now. And sometimes you go through situations and you learn from it. And that mentor was good for that season, but you know what? You have to start. Good. You can't be waiting on the Lord to crack the sky. And so, like I said with the guy, Dr. Joe, who is a mentor of mine, who I've probably called over the course of the last 3 years, maybe 4 times. And I'm like, hey, I got some questions for you. You know, he is a mentor. You better believe it. I call him and I'm transparent with him. And I'm like, bro, I've never bought a brownstone. I don't want to make a mistake. Can you give me some things to look out for? And he's like, well, don't get it over at such and such. And I'm like, why? He's like, man. And I'm like, really? No idea. Had no idea. That right there saved me who knows what. So the takeaway, and I like the fact, Minister Dre, that you're ending with the action, because a lot of times we get convicted and then we get excited, but we don't apply anything specific. And so for people that are listening to this, hear what I'm saying. Pray about it. And then while you are seeking out who that is, try to hear from God. And the Lord will do his thing. And you'll be blessed. And it doesn't mean that that person's the right person for the next 20 years. It might be a solid mentor for the next year to get you to the next stage of life.
Got you. That's good. So listen, fam, y'all watching this, y'all heard what my big bro said. Pray. And then that's number 1. And then 1A is to wait. Wait until that person or those persons have been revealed to you. And then 2, ask. And the thing about information, like right now, music, of course, I'm gonna use music for example. Music is property. Somebody create, in fact, on YouTube, if you put a video up there and you play somebody's song on it, YouTube gonna flag you down and say, copyright infringement. Like, you cannot take that song and then use it as your own. The same is with intellectual property. So the reason why Corey is saying, you know, ask that person and then ask them to like try to buy them coffee is because you just don't want to go and then suck up information and be like, all right, thank you, and roll out. At least pay for something, at least offer to pay for something. Y'all out there with them J's on, y'all out there with the iPhone 11, the iPhone 13s, y'all out here with the AirPods, the $250 junk. Man, y'all can pay for a meal, y'all can pay for something, but pay for just to get some of that intellectual property, because let me tell you this, what you pay will be a lot less valuable than what you get in knowledge. I can guarantee you that. So listen, man, big brother, thank you so much, man, for taking this time out to just chop it up with me about this whole mentee-mentor relationship thing. I think this was awesome. I know the folks going to be blessed, and they got a lot of nuggets out of this. So listen, I'm going to get with you. All right, brother, and thank you again, man. Hey, Jaden, let's put a cap on this Remnant TV, because this was a dope episode. What you got for us?
Thank you, Mr. Corey and Minister Dre, for that awesome conversation. And I hope y'all were taking notes, because there were a lot of great takeaways. Now, we are wrapping up our relationship goals series on our 3-piece combo next week. So be sure to meet us at the Zion Church Youth YouTube channel, which will be linked below and on the bottom of the screen right now. And I hope you all had a great time, and please enjoy your week. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at remnant.fw. That is remnant, REMNANT.FW. I love you guys, and our Remnant family loves you all. So we'll see you next week.